Alright everyone, today we're going to be replacing VCT solenoids on 2016 Mustang GT. So I've heard that some other people have been having the same issue I've been having, and they cannot figure out because there's no check engine lights. Pretty much having issues with it sounding like it's misfiring, not idling right at low RPMs. And quite a few people told me that they've replaced the VCT solenoids, which are there's two here and two on this side, but to remove them you do have to pull a valve cover off. So I got me some VCT solenoids. If you don't know if you got the new style or the old style, new style will look like this on the bottom. There's a part number. Got me a gasket, and we're just gonna go ahead and start with pulling the strut bar off, intake, cold air intake, and then little by little we'll figure it out. I've seen a couple of videos, but there's really nothing that shows step-by-step removal, so I'm gonna make an attempt and see how it works. If it's not too embarrassing, I'll post it later. All right, so far I see that they always recommend to take the battery off pretty much for anytime you work on this car. So it's a 10 mil. We'll just undo the terminal, and we'll move on to taking these off. All right, next we're going for a strut tower bar. In my case, it's 17. There's just 2 bolts here and there, or actually, 4 bolts. So take those off, pull your strut tower bar off. I'm pretty sure you might not even have to. I'm just gonna pull it off just so it's out of the way. All right, so far we got the battery taken out. I believe that was a 10 millimeter. Then we got strut tower brace off. That's 15 millimeter. And then I took the intake tube and intake housing out. So that's about it. The next we're gonna start, you just gotta make sure from your cold air intake you disconnect all your vacuum lines. I don't have that many since I have a 18 manifold. But next we're just gonna start unplugging all the little harnesses and everything, and getting it all free to go so we can take the valve cover off itself. All right, so we got all the coil packs unplugged. You just simply slide this tab forward and then just pull it up. The next we're gonna take out the dipstick tube. I really don't know how it's supposed to come out. I just know if you don't take it out first that you are gonna break this tube right here. So I'm gonna look that up and get at it. Then another thing I noticed that there's not many videos to show how to remove this. So if you can tell, there's that little tab. All you gotta do is reach in there with a little screwdriver, press that tab in and just rotate it counterclockwise and it'll come right out. That's just so you don't break it. All right, so now we unplug the coil packs, then we remove the little bolts that hold them in. What I just used one of my little HVAC tools. It's a 5/16. So 5/16, take those out. I'm just gonna pull them out. I've done mine recently, so mine come out pretty easy. But yeah, just pull all of them out and then we'll move to the next. All right, next. So what I'm doing right now, I'm taking off these little clips. I found my pry tool, otherwise I was just gonna cut them with side cutters. But it's up to you guys. There's just this couple along the way. I think there's one right here. I think I'm gonna leave that one because that's actually connected to the block. But yeah. And by the way, I just watched a video on how to do this, like a partial video just a week ago. So there might be some steps that I'm overdoing or doing too much. So, do whatever makes sense, or watch the whole video first and then see what steps I didn't even need to take. That's all I'm gonna do now. I'm just gonna go around and remove the 10 millimeter bolts that are holding the valve cover on. All right, so on the back of the valve cover here, there's these 2 clips, and they are a big pain in the ass to get. I just had to move the valve cover forward a little bit, and then just snip those off because I got big old hands and they would not fit back there. But here's the heads. Here's our VCT solenoids. So now we're just gonna, you see there's 4 screws. We're just gonna replace those, take them out, replace them with the new ones, and then put a new gasket in. I'm gonna go get a vacuum. There's some stuff that dropped in here from the engine itself. get a vacuum, clean this all up, and put a new one in. All right, so I used the same 5/16 to just take off those 4 bolts. And then pulled out the old VCT solenoids. See if you can see the difference from the old model to the new model. So these are just, you know, they're just side to side, feel a little wobblier, but you know, otherwise they look exactly the same. Out with the old and with the new. Don't stare at my toes. All right, so at this point, I put these 2 back in there. You gotta remember to add these little black pucks to the bottom of the bolts. You'll see exactly how they come out. So these little black things, they come with the VCT solenoids. They're almost like little washers. They go on the bottom of on the bottom side of those bolts, pretty much. And now we're gonna just torque them down to 79 inch-pounds, not foot-pounds, inch-pounds. Don't make that mistake. I've made that mistake one time, a couple years ago. So yeah, I'm just gonna torque them down and then clean up the surface area. You can see there's a little bit of gasket maker that was on the seam over here where the timing cover meets the block. So we'll just clean that up, put some more new sealant on there, put on a new valve gasket or valve cover gasket, and put it back together. All right, so now we got everything in place. I put the new gasket in. I replaced the little gaskets for the spark plug tubes they have and for the VCTs. I cleaned up these little seals. Now we're just gonna put some more RTR in there, or RTV, and yeah. And then we're gonna put the cover back on. All right, so I got the valve cover back on there. For the torque spec on VCT solenoids, so some people say 70 and then another 3-degree or 30-degree turn. Some people say 79. I did 79 inch-pounds. And then for your bolts for the valve cover, you will do 89 foot-pounds. And I couldn't find a specific pattern, but I just did the 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and that type of pattern all the way out to secure all the bolts. So they're pretty much, that's it. I'm just gonna put everything back together, plug everything back in, and see how it goes. I'm probably not gonna film the other side because this one is super easy. I mean, you don't have to move nothing out of the way. But it's gonna be the same exact thing. But yeah, thanks for watching. If you guys have any questions, give me a call, or leave a comment. Yeah, ask me about if you got any more questions. So as you can see, I've already dealt with the intake manifold change out, you know, the lockouts. I did the headers myself. Pretty much most of the work that's on here was all done by me, including a bunch of suspensions parts, so the BLMR rear kit, you know, the front grills, pretty much anything that you can see on here I was at least a part of. So yeah, give me a shout, see what you guys like, and see what else you might want to, you know, see in the future. Click that like, you know, subscribe, and maybe we can grow together. All right, bye.